What's up, everyone? March Madness fans everywhere. Um, we are just a few hours away. As I record this now, it is close to 11 o'clock on Saturday night, March 15th. According to the Selection Committee's Twitter account, they are just now deciding on the final teams to put in the tournament bracket. And we've just had a major development happen right now as Providence, who I had as one of my last four teams in the field, just now clinched the automatic bid to the Big East by beating Creighton. So a lot has changed today with a lot of bids being clinched, some different situations happening. So right here and right now, I'm excited to do this as well. Not only am I going to fill out my gut feeling bracket for you guys live on the Bracket Breakdown show, but right now, I'm going to do for you guys the final projection live right now. I've got marker in hand. I don't have a cheat sheet on my computer. I got it right here. There you go. You see this? Final projection. Right now it's blank, but we're going to fill it in as we go along. I'm making it right now. There's only just a few games left. I got the double box on my TV right now. I've got the WAC final on one side, and I've got the Big West final on the other. The Idaho-Cal State Northridge game the Cal Poly-Cal State Northridge game on one side, and the Idaho-New Mexico State game on the other. Those games really won't determine a lot in terms of at-large teams. So that's why I'm doing this now, getting it done and getting it ready, so that way I can really cement and I can really now at this point I think really pinpoint the 68 teams that are going to be in the tournament field. So first, before we begin the bracketing, let me share with you guys what I have at this moment, at this exact moment. I have a cheat sheet right now that I've made up, and basically what it shows is it has four different columns. It has the 32 automatic bids on one side of the bracket of all 32 conferences, winners or projected winners. Some of these we are going by projected, but I have a slash next to it with another name just in case the other team wins. But again, a lot of these won't impact, like the SEC final won't impact because Florida and Kentucky are both in. I think VCU and St. Joseph's, whoever wins A10, I think is in. Iowa State, Baylor, Big 12, that's still going on right now, but I think either way, both those teams are in. Michigan State, Michigan in the Big 10, both those teams are in. Duke, Virginia in the ACC, both those teams are in. So really at this point, there's no real other surprises. That's probably why the committee right now is finalizing their teams. They realize at this point, okay, there's no other surprises that can happen. Providence probably was the last surprise that we had. Now we can really get down to choosing these final teams and then getting the bracket sets, which is why I decided to do this. Now, I know I said earlier today that I was going to wait until all the conference tournaments were done, but at this time I feel really confident that I can make a final projection right now. So, and I've always done that in the past years on this show, so especially since I started a couple years ago. So I feel comfortable now doing this. So I have one column with the automatic bids. Then I have a second column that says safe at-large teams. These are teams that I really feel are in no danger of missing the field. I have 29 teams listed as safe at-large teams. That includes the loser of the ACC final, the A10 final, the Big 12 final, the Big 10 final, and the SEC final, along with several other teams that I think have a good enough profile that we've been locked on for weeks. Out of the ACC, it's like Syracuse, North Carolina. I think Pitt now is a lock. Cincinnati out of the American, Connecticut, Memphis. Out of the A10, St. Louis, George Washington, UMass. Big 12, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Big East, Villanova, Creighton now, because now they're not large, so they lost to Providence. Big 10, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Mountain West, San Diego State. They lost to New Mexico tonight, so New Mexico got the automatic bid. Pac-12, Arizona, Oregon, Arizona State, Colorado, Stanford, and then the SEC loser. Those are my 29 teams that I think, regardless of what happens tomorrow, they're safely in the field. That leaves us with 7 teams that right now I have as being like the last 3 buys and the last 4 in. Coming into that game in the Big East, I had a last four buys and last four in because I had Providence as one of my last four in. I mentioned that. But now, since they've won the Big East tournament title and have basically now have gone into the automatic bid column, that leaves a spot open. So, but the problem was I couldn't move somebody up from the outline. I couldn't move somebody from the cut line up because then that would give me 69 teams. So really, then I had to really shrink things down and condense a little bit, and that really didn't open a spot for a team to move into the field. It just enabled someone to maybe drop down a spot. So I had to drop Dayton from a bye into the last four in. So at this point, my buys now are Southern Methodist, Iowa, and Tennessee. While I feel that these teams are safely in the field, I don't think they're going to probably end up on the 10-11 cut line because they've regressed of late or they didn't get a chance to really do well in their conference tournament. Iowa made an early exit. SMU made an early exit. So I think they're going to be on the lower seeded line come tomorrow. So then my last four in now is Dayton, Xavier, Nebraska, and BYU. Those now four teams are my last four teams in the field. And then my next column, of course, is all the teams that I think have fallen short. I lump them all together, but my last four out right now as it stands is, my first four out, I'm sorry, is NC State, Minnesota, Missouri, and Florida State. Those are my first four teams out of the field. Had opportunities to make the field. NC State, had they beaten Duke today, I think would have been in the field for sure, without any doubts whatsoever. But didn't get the job done. So they're certainly very close. Again, if anything were to fall weird, but I think at this point it's really out of the realm of possibility. So, but again, this is up to the committee about some of these teams. I think Minnesota is NIT bound. I think Missouri is NIT bound. Florida State has a lot of debate. Some people think their resume is good enough. I don't think it's quite there. So I think they're going to the NIT. And then below them, Cal, who exited early in the quarterfinals. Arkansas had the bad loss to South Carolina. Southern Miss, again, and I debate with people about Southern Miss, and some people have Southern Miss as high as the first four in. I can't see that. Their resume is totally terrible. I laugh at their non-conference schedule. Their only team that they scheduled of any merit was Louisville, and they lost by 31. So it's laughable. It's a laughable schedule. I can't imagine the committee being that nice to Southern Miss. There's a bunch of other teams on this list that went out early in their conference tournaments or don't have the resume. Louisiana Tech, Green Bay, Toledo, who lost today to Western Michigan, Belmont, Georgia, St. Mary's, St. John's, Georgia, Georgetown, Illinois, Indiana State, Richmond, Maryland, Clemson, Utah. That's pretty much the bottom of the barrel, the real, that's where it ends, where these teams had opportunities to make the field and it didn't pan out for them. So that's where things stand for me in terms of my 68-team field. So now what we need to do is we need now to put the teams we need to figure out seedings and put them in the brackets. So let's just get right into it. Let me pull up here. Here we go. Okay. Move my camera here a little bit. Okay, so the one seeds, we're pretty sure that three of these are pretty much locked in because these three have been set in stone for weeks now. We're talking about Arizona, Florida, Wichita State. Those three have pretty much been locked in. There's now a lot of heated debate over who now is the fourth number one seed. And some say it's probably going to be the Big Ten representative. I quite frankly can't disagree with that. A lot of people I think it's Wisconsin, but they lost to Michigan State badly today, so that only takes them out. Some say Virginia's in the discussion. Some say Duke's in the discussion. If Duke beats Virginia, they might be in that discussion. But I'm going to go ahead for now, and I'm going to lean Michigan. I'm going to agree with the consensus. I've seen Michigan play in person this season. I saw them play my Boilers at home this season when they came back from a huge deficit at halftime and won the game in overtime on a last-second jumper. They don't quit. Michigan is just a very talented team that does not quit. When they face adversity, they don't back down. They play. John Beeline does a great job coaching that team. He's got talented players and Glenn Robinson III and Levert and Derek Walton Jr. and Stauskas, of course, and Spike Albrecht sometimes gets involved. Michigan is just a very well-rounded team, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the fourth number one. So, top seed is Arizona. No doubt about that in my mind. They're playing well. They're Pac-12. And even though they lost the final today to UCLA, which I actually predicted happening, I did have them losing to UCLA in that final. But UCLA is a very under-the-radar team with a lot to prove. I still think Arizona is going to be the overall one. Also, Rick Pitino, I don't know if you guys heard his comments, he came out and said that Louisville should be the fourth number one after their performance today in the American final. I don't know if that's going to happen. Certainly, they're going to, I can't see that happening. They might get a fairly high seed, but I don't think it's going to be that high. There's just too many good teams above Louisville. Okay, so Arizona is going to be in the West region. Obviously. Okay, let's. So the fourth number one then is going to be, then we'll put them against the fourth number one. It's going to be Michigan. We are projecting Michigan to win the Big Ten. I do think they're going to beat Michigan State tomorrow. It's going to be a good game. I'm expecting a really good, entertaining game. I know the saying is you don't bet against Tom Izzo in March, especially when the Spartans now are healthy, but I've just seen Michigan play so well that I've been very impressed by them. So we're going to go ahead and put them in the East region, and that's in New York. Some people would say it might make sense to put them in the Midwest, but Wichita State's probably going to end up in the Midwest region anyway, so it only makes sense then to put them in the East. South region in Memphis, that's Florida. That's the Gators. They're going to be the one seed there. Florida out of the SEC. And then we have the Midwest. The semifinals, of course, are in Indy. And that's Wichita State. Again, the Shockers 34-0 out of the Missouri Valley. Okay, so there's the one line. Arizona, Michigan, Florida, and Wichita State. Two seeds. I think Wisconsin definitely belongs in the two-seed discussion. We'll put them there. Probably with Villanova, Kansas, and Duke. I think make a lot of sense there. And I know even though Wisconsin got beat today again by Michigan State, I think that the record overall is still very strong. They've still been playing some good basketball this time of year. So I think it all depends what Michigan State does against Michigan tomorrow as well. That might affect the seed line later on. But for now, at this moment, I'm pretty safe putting Wisconsin on the 2 line. So we're going to put Wisconsin as the 2 in the Midwest. Put them there. What I said? I said Villanova. Let's go ahead and put them in the East. Then, okay, I said Wisconsin, Villanova. What I said, Kansas. Kansas, we will put in the South. And somebody's got to go to the West, unfortunately, and unfortunately it's got to be Duke. Somebody's got to do it. Sorry, Duke. I'm not a fan of Duke. If you guys follow my Twitter, if you guys, see that, I'm not very fond of Duke. Well, I'm with Tar Heel show one time. You guys know I should know I'm not fond of Duke. Okay, so that is the 2 line. Duke, Villanova, Duke in the West, Villanova in the East, Kansas in the South, and Wisconsin in the Midwest. The 3 line, let's go with Virginia. Out of the ACC, let's put them in the East. And again, right now right now Duke is higher than Virginia right now, but again, depending on the outcome tomorrow, Virginia could leapfrog Duke in the seeding by 1 line. I don't know if Virginia will get a 1. If they beat Duke, I'm not so sure they're in line for a 1. Maybe a 2, but I can't see Virginia getting a 1. But that's up to the committee, ideally. But we'll have Virginia as a 3 for now in the East. Creighton, I'm still comfortable with putting Creighton as a 3 again, even though they lost tonight to Providence. They still played a very close game. It's not like they got blown out by Providence. McDermott still had a pretty good night. Creighton is still a very solid team all around. We'll go ahead and put them. See, I hate to put Wichita State and Creighton in the same region because I feel like those are two kind of mid-major programs going up against each other. Let's put Creighton in the South. I would love to see them play Kansas, actually, in a 3-2. I'd love to see that matchup. So let's put Creighton in the South. Syracuse, that means that they would go to the Midwest. And then we'll put Iowa State. Nice run that they've made. They're going to get a good high seed. I mean, Iowa State is a very well-rounded team. I've been so impressed with, again, what I mentioned on here, with the talent they have. And last I saw, they were still trailing Baylor, but playing them very close. So, but for now, I think they're still going to get a high seed regardless. Okay. So that's the 3 line. 4 seeds. This is where a lot of people have Louisville right now, and again, I don't think that's going to change because, again, I think there's just too many solid teams. Even though Louisville played well in the American tournament, I think there's just too many good teams above Louisville to put them any higher. And again, Pitino is very confident. I think we're going to be a 1 seed. I don't think it's going to happen. So we will put Louisville. And see, I don't want to have them on the same region as Wichita State either, because that would create a rematch. And I don't want rematches. I want, I want solid all-around matchups. But I don't want to put them in the East either, because then that's Michigan. So, let's put Louisville in the South. Now watch, I'm going to make the South a loaded region. Just you watch. So Louisville in the South. San Diego State out of the Mountain West is next, and let's put them. It'd just be unfair to put them west, so we'll put them in the East. That'd be a fun matchup, actually, because I think Steve Fisher's still at San Diego State, if I remember correctly. Possible Sweet 16 matchup with Michigan, former team. And then let's see. Next, let's go Cincinnati, and we'll put them in the Midwest. I've had Cincinnati on the 4 line for weeks now, and I still feel they belong there. Still a very solid, again, well-rounded team. And then this is where I'm going to put Michigan State. And again, this could change depending on the outcome of that game. But for now, I think Michigan's going to win it. So that's why I have them higher as the 1. So Michigan State I have as the 4 out in the West region. Okay. Next, we are looking at the 5 line. So I don't forget, let me put my LFIs on here so I don't forget, because I got to make sure I put them on the right line. And then 5s. Okay. So fives. Let's start with North Carolina. We're going to go ahead and put them in the East. Then Connecticut out of the American, they will have to go to the West then because I can't put them in the South and the Midwest because I have two teams from the American already in there. Although I could if I wanted to, but I think that'd be too close of a matchup. They did change the rule and loosen the rule where you can now put two teams from the same conference in the same section of the bracket if you wanted to. But there's like certain stipulations. Like if they play like at least only once a year, they can play at this time, twice a year at this point, three times a year at this point. So it's kind of confusing. But I think as long as they don't like meet like in the following round, I think they're okay. Or they can't meet. You can't have two teams in the same conference playing in the second round, but you can like to the third, the fourth, and so on and so forth. Ohio State out of the Big Ten. We'll go ahead and put them. We'll go ahead and put them in the Midwest. I don't have anyone from the Big Ten up in that region right now. And then the other five I have is Oklahoma. And we'll go ahead and put them in the South. Okay. Sixes. With the win tonight, UCLA certainly, to me, shoots up the seed line. So I have moved them up to a 6. So we're going to go ahead and put them in the West region. And I know that puts them in the same region as Arizona, but would you not love to see a rematch? I would. After that game tonight, that was an entertaining game. That was fun to watch. And then VCU out of the Atlantic 10, we have them projected winning the title game tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and put them in the East region. And that'd be an entertaining 6-3 matchup. VCU against Virginia. Hello. I'll watch that. Also, out of the A10, St. Louis. We'll go ahead and put them in the Midwest. And again, the only problem I have with St. Louis, and I mentioned it on here before, they're a defensive-minded team. They don't play too much offense, so you get them against a good offensive team, and they could be in trouble. And then the other 6 I have is New Mexico, who won the Mountain West tonight, and by default they would end up in the South region. But mostly, when you put them in the different regions, you're trying to stay as close as possible, but it's also about the different pod locations that the committee determines to put these teams geographically close. So that's also a big factor. All right, moving on to the 7 line. Let's see here. First team on the 7 line, I'd say, is Texas. And I can put Texas in either the East or the Midwest. I'm going to go ahead and put Texas in the East. That way, if they were to go through, they would draw Villanova, which wouldn't be a bad matchup either. Kentucky, I can put them anywhere. Let's put them in the South because, again, and I've had this matchup for a long time now. If Kentucky were to win theirs and Kansas were to win Kentucky-Kansas in the 3rd round, I mean, how fun would that be? Baylor. Now, of course, this all depends on, right now we have Iowa State higher than Baylor, but, and that might, and Baylor, if Baylor winning might not affect that seed line a whole lot. They might move a line up or two, but right for now, because this game was still going on, this wasn't a final yet. So, so Baylor for now, I have to put in the Midwest. But Baylor certainly safe in the field regardless. And then UMass of the A10 would be the other 7 seed. And they would go out to the West region. Again, kind of by default. Excuse me. Okay, 8 seeds. Oregon in the Pac-12, safe. They're a lock. I can't put them out west. So let's just put them in the 2nd region. We'll put them in the South. Gonzaga, we'll put them out west. They were, of course, the champs of the West Coast Conference. Big shocker, I know, right? G-Dub, George Washington out of the A10. We'll go ahead and put them in the East. And then that would leave us with, well, actually, I'm going to have to switch that. Because the other 8 I have is Memphis out of the American. But I'm going to have to put them in the East because I have an American team again already in the Midwest. So we'll put Memphis in the East, and we'll put George Washington in the Midwest. Okay. Nines. Oklahoma State. I can put them anywhere but the South. Let's put them against Gonzaga. I'd be intrigued to see how Marcus Smart does against a team like the Zags. Then Colorado out of the Pac-12. Let's put them against Memphis. I don't think G-Dub would be a great matchup for Colorado. I want them to be challenged. Then Pitt out of the ACC. We'll go ahead and put them against Oregon in the South region. And then that would leave Kansas State out of the Big 12 as the 9 in the Midwest. Okay. 10s. Awesome. Okay. 10s, Stanford. Stanford out of the Pac-12. I can put them anywhere but the West. So let's just, again, go ahead and put them in the 2nd region. We'll put them in the South. Then let's put Arizona State in this similar situation. We'll go ahead and put them in the Midwest. New Mexico is one of the great fan bases in the country. When he took it over, they were a mess. Then St. Joseph's. Your last 2 years, he wins 27-29, and they go to the NCAA tournament, heartbreaking defeat. And now he goes to UCLA. I don't think UCLA was a mess. I mean, there was things going on there, obviously, that led to Ben Howland leaving. Actually, let's switch. Let's switch St. Joe's and Stanford around. So St. Joe's now is going to go to the south, and Stanford is going to the east. And then that would leave he's got 2 seniors and 3 juniors in his starting 5. So unlike a lot of teams out there, Coach, he's got some upperclassmen to deal with. He does, and really talented guys that have been through the wars. That's why I think when you fill out your bracket, New Mexico's a team. I got to tell you, I was so impressed. I've always been impressed with Brad. And that would leave me probably with starting with my buys. So probably then I'd give that spot to Iowa. They're the highest of my buy teams there, so they would get the 10 in the West region. Then 11s, because then after Iowa is SMU, and they are the American. So I can put them. Actually, I can put them anywhere. So that's nice. That's a nice freedom to have. But who do I want them to draw? Who would be a good challenge for them? See, this is all about matchups. It's so hard to decide where to put teams, especially if you can put them anywhere in the bracket. That's what's nice. Let me put them. Let me put them in the East. I'm really torn between the East and the South, but I think this is a better challenge for them. And then next would be Tennessee. I can put them either in the West or the Midwest. I'll go ahead and put them in the Midwest. And then I would have one of my play-in games here.
The snap's bigger system from Scott is snap, hack, and simple. Just snap, lock, and go. Feature of
and actually, I might end up with both of them here because
I found a 4-leaf clover earlier today, and I wished for this, and it came true. Why did you not wish for a yacht? What am I going to do with half a yacht?
because I list all these as 11, so these all might be my play-ins here. I know the bubble shrunk that much. So with that being said, because I list all my LFIs here as 11s. So Xavier and Nebraska, I would put them in the South region. And then I'd have Dayton and BYU in the West.
Congratulations to Chris Coolidge. He said he was more than his problems. They are in the dance with the Big East.
Okay.
The ACC semifinals on Saturday. Second half.
And now the rest of the way, 12 seeds, the newly now in the field, officially, Providence Friars, out of the Big East. I can put them, again, amazingly, anywhere in this field. So we might as well reward them, and we'll put them in the East. Harvard out of the Ivy League, then we'd put them in the next best region and put them in the South. North Dakota State out of the Summit. We put them in the Midwest. And that would leave Stephen F. Austin of the Southland going to the West region.
Florida beats Tennessee. Here's the championship game, 3 o'clock on ESPN Sunday. Two best teams all year in the SEC. Yeah, there's no question about it.
Okay. Then 13s. We'd have Manhattan out of the MAC. Go ahead and send them east. Tulsa out of Conference USA. We'll send them south. Western Michigan out of the MAC. Go ahead and send them to the Midwest. Which that would mean that, again, by default, Delaware, the Colonial, would go to the west. 14s. Now, right now, we are projecting that New Mexico State will win the WAC. Right now, they are leading Idaho 55-42 in the second half. And we have a final from the Big 12. Iowa State did beat Baylor 74-65. So, again, it's right on where we need to be. Iowa State will get a higher seed than Baylor. Baylor is certainly still on the field, but I think that, again, goes along with where we have them seated. So New Mexico State is up comfortably at Idaho, so it looks like the Aggies are going to get that spot as we had projected. So what we're going to do is we're going to put New Mexico State as a 14 seed in the West region. And if Idaho does create a comeback and wins it, they'll probably end up in the same place. They might drop a seed line maybe to a 15, but I think they'll be in that same 14 to 16 general or 14-15 general area, not 16. Then we're projecting Georgia State to win the Sun Belt tomorrow against Western Kentucky. We'll put them in the South. If Western Kentucky wins, they'll probably be on the same seed line as well. Their record's kind of similar to Georgia State, so they'll be again in that 14-15 range. And then Mercer of the Atlantic Sun, we'll go ahead and put them in the East. And then that mean that Eastern Kentucky of the Ohio Valley would go to the Midwest. Then the 15 seeds, NC Central, the Eagles out of the MEAC, first time ever in the NCAA tournament. Congrats to them. We'll go ahead and put them in the East region. Milwaukee out of the Horizon League. We'll go ahead and put them in the South. Again, because of geography and rivalry, I don't want to have them playing Wisconsin, so we'll create a better matchup that way. American out of the Patriot League, we'll go ahead and put them in the Midwest. And then Wofford out of the Southern Southern Conference, we'll put them out west. And then finally, last but certainly not least, the 16 line. Albany, who won the America East today, upset Stony Brook. We'll go ahead and put them in the East region. Now at autotrader.com, compare new and used cars and even special offers. When you find the right car, there won't be any. And then we are projecting Cal State Northridge to win the Big West. Now, either way, whether they win or whether Cal Poly wins, they're going to be either a 16 or going to be one of the first 4 games in Dayton, Ohio, guaranteed. And at halftime, Northridge is leading Cal Poly 29-25. So it is a very close game. Cal Poly has pulled some big upsets to get to this point. They knocked off the number 2 seed, UCSB Gauchos, and they knocked off my Eaters. They knocked off the Anteaters, so they wanted in the field, the number 1 seed, but they did win that game. So that's why they're in this position at like 12-19 record. So if Cal Poly were to come back and win, they would probably end up at the first 4 in Dayton. But right now we're projecting Northridge to win that game. Although it's interesting to note that Cal Poly swept Northridge this regular season. They beat them twice during the regular season. So, but we're only projecting Northridge based on regular season records. So for now, we're going to put Northridge as the 16 seed in the South. I'm sorry, we'll put them in the West. Actually, no, fair. We'll put them in the South. Because we want to have one of the playing games in the West. So we'll put Northridge there. And again, if Cal Poly were to win, they'd be in one of the playing games. So then one of the playing games we have right now, and this would probably be in the Midwest. One of them would be Weber State, who tonight did win the Big Sky title, taking on Coastal Carolina, who won the Big South. And then finally the last first 4 game, that would be the Mount St. Mary's, the surprising winner of the Northeast, 16-16 record. And I would have them taking on Texas Southern, who won the SWAC title tonight. All right, that's it. This is it now. It is on paper. It is on paper. The final official Tracking the Madness projection of the 2014 season, right here. Here's what we have spit out. Here's what we have come up with. West Region in Anaheim, top seed Arizona, playing the winner of Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. 8 seed Gonzaga against 9 seed Oklahoma State. 5 seed Connecticut against 12 seed Stephen F. Austin, champs of the Southland. 4 seed Michigan State against the 13 seed Delaware, champs of the Colonial. 6 seed UCLA, Pac-12 champs against 11 seed, the winner of Dayton and BYU. 3 seed Iowa State, champs now of the Big 12 officially at this very hour. Taking on the 14 seed New Mexico State. We are projecting them to be the champions of the WAC. 7 seed Massachusetts out of the Atlantic 10 against 10 seed Iowa. They're one of our last 3 byes. And 2 seed Duke out of the ACC against the 15th seed Wofford, champions of the Southern Conference. East Region, top seed Michigan, projected winner of the Big Ten, taking on 16 seed Albany, champs of the America East. 8 seed Memphis of the American, taking on 9 seed Colorado of the Pac-12. 5 seed North Carolina of the ACC, taking on 12 seed Providence, Big East champions. 4 seed San Diego State out of the Mountain West, taking on the 13 seed Manhattan, champions of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. 6 seed VCU, projecting them to win the Atlantic 10 final tomorrow, taking on the 11th seed SMU out of the American. They are projected as one of our last 3 byes. 3 seed Virginia, we are projecting them to win the ACC final tomorrow. I have them taking on 14 seed Mercer, your champions of the Atlantic Sun. 7 seed Texas Longhorns out of the Big 12 against the 10 seed Stanford out of the Pac-12. 2 seed Villanova out of the Big East, taking on the 15th seed North Carolina Central Eagles of the MEAC champions first tournament. South Region, top seed Florida Gators. We are projecting them to win the SEC final tomorrow against Kentucky.
I have them facing the 16th seed, projected winner of the Big West, Cal State Northridge. Again, if Cal Poly were to come back and win this game, which it's still close right now, they just started second half, it's a 2-point game. If Cal Poly were to win, in all likelihood, they would end up in one of the play-in games, and then it's very possible maybe you move, you maybe shift like maybe a Weber State out of the play-in game, and then you put Cal Poly in there, or you move Texas Southern up, or the logical choice to move up is Weber State. They would be safe. Albany would be safe. And then you probably have Coastal Carolina and Texas Southern. And then you have Mount St. Mary's playing Cal Poly. So that'd probably be the way it would move around if Cal Poly wins that game. But for now, we're projecting the Matadors to win that game. 8-9 in the South. 8 seed Oregon Ducks out of the Pac-12. 9 seed Pitt Panthers out of the ACC. 5 Oklahoma out of the Big 12, taking on the 12 seed Harvard Crimson, champions of the Ivy League. And 4-13 Louisville, champions of the American, taking on the 13th seed Tulsa Golden Hurricane, champions of Conference USA. 6-11 New Mexico, champions of the Mountain West, taking on the 11th seed, the winner of the first 4 game between Xavier and Nebraska. 3-14 Creighton Blue Jays out of the Big East, taking on the 14th seed Georgia State Panthers. We are projecting them to win the Sun Belt. If it is Western Kentucky that also wins, they will probably end up in the same position on the seed line. So they would be there. So whoever wins the Sun Belt title, well, I have them as on the 14 line either way. 7-10 Kentucky out of the SEC, taking on St. Joseph's out of the Atlantic 10. And 2-15 Kansas of the Big 12, taking on the Milwaukee Panthers, champions of the Horizon League. And then the Midwest region, top seed, who can it be? Oh, duh, Wichita State, 34-0 out of the Missouri Valley. I have them playing right now the winner of the first 4 game between Weber State, your champions of the Big Sky, and Coastal Carolina, your champions of the Big South. 8-9 George Washington out of the Atlantic 10, taking on Kansas State out of the Big 12. 5-12 Ohio State out of the Big 10, taking on the 12 seed champions of the Summit League, the North Dakota State Bison. 4-13 Cincinnati out of the American, taking on the MAC champion Western Michigan Broncos. 6-11 St. Louis, the Billikens out of the A10, the 6th seed, taking on Tennessee out of the SEC. We have Tennessee as one of our last 3 byes. 3-14 Syracuse out of the ACC, taking on Eastern Kentucky, the champions of the Ohio Valley. 7-10 Baylor out of the Big 12. We just heard they did lose the title game tonight to Iowa State. We have them taking on Arizona State, the number 10 seed out of the Pac-12. And finally, the 2-15 Wisconsin out of the Big 10. Even though they lost tonight to Michigan State, we still have them as a strong 2 seed, taking on American, the 15 seed and champions of the Patriot League. All right, guys, that's it. That is it. That is the final projection. I am confident in this. I don't think I can break down anymore. I've done so much over these last breaking down teams' data, looking at their nitty-gritty sheets, looking at their profiles, and tomorrow, after all the games are played, It finally gets revealed. We'll all be in front of our televisions at 6 p.m., hopefully watching on CBS, whatever network you want to watch it on. I always watch CBS. We'll be there. We'll have, it's in my bag now, but we'll have a blank bracket in front of us, pen in hand, and we'll be ready to fill it out. And we'll be ready to see what happens come Selection Sunday. Guys, this has been a fun ride. I mean, every year it is so fun to do this, and to
to really experience what it's like. Being a bracketologist is almost like you're a committee member in a way. You're looking at data, you're making projections, you're seeing what the teams are doing, you're watching boatloads upon boatloads of college basketball. You're really dissecting what is going on. It's a way, again, it's kind of like when I do the fantasy football stock report, it's a way to connect to the NFL. This is a way to connect to college basketball, and I have so much fun doing this. And I can't remember a time I've ever done this where I've gotten so many views, so many subscribers through this, so many comments and debates about teams. It's just been a blast. And again, I'm going to keep doing it. I guarantee you that right now. Tracking the Madness is not going to stop anytime soon. I have too much fun doing this. I have too much fun doing the stock report. Now, the Jaguars quarterback quest is going. I plan on resuming that. It is going to resume later this next week. I plan to resume it on Thursday, the 20th of March. That's my next day off from work. So I hope to have some time there to break down the next 4 quarterbacks on my list that I haven't done, I know, in a long time, but I really wanted to focus on getting this down and getting this as right as I can. So that's why I put that on hiatus till I had this completely done, set in stone, with Selection Sunday right around the corner. So you guys know I cannot say thank you enough to you guys. I cannot. You now are making. You're making this channel rise. Every time I see the subscriber number go up, the view number go up, read the comments, it just, I love hearing that. I love engaging in that debate with you guys about so many different teams we've talked about and discussed and broken down. We've talked about the Minnesotas and the Daytons and the NC States and all these different teams and situations, and Xavier's and all these teams. And it's like we're kind of a mini committee ourselves, so it's just fun to do that. So I can only imagine what the committee is going through right now in those rooms in Indianapolis, to look at all that data and really see, gee, is this team better than this team? I like this team better. We don't know. They don't really delve what they look for or the discussion, but I can tell you one thing. When that bracket's finally unveiled tomorrow and we start looking at some of the teams that either put in or out, it's going to it always creates some spirited debate, and we'll do that on the bracket breakdown show. I plan to record that probably right before the games, the first 4 starts on Tuesday. I'll probably do that Tuesday morning. I'll be out of town Monday night. I'll be in Indianapolis with my buddies that you've seen on the show before. We're going to the Pacer game on Monday night, so I'll be out of town that night. So I'm going to probably do the bracket breakdown on Tuesday morning. And that's when I plan to fill out my gut feeling bracket also live. I play 7 brackets on Tournament Challenge on ESPN, but I always really rely heavily, and while it hasn't won in the past, at least for my best brackets in the past, I always rely heavily on my gut feeling bracket, because that's the one. That's why it's called the gut feeling bracket, because those are the teams I really feel like are going to win those games. So I'm going to fill that out live on the bracket breakdown show, looking at each of the regions, looking at the matchups, the potential pass for teams, and that's what I'm going to do on Tuesday morning is when I plan to record that and upload it. And then Thursday, we'll resume the Jaguars quarterback quest. So, and again, we're going to keep on doing that up until the draft in May. We'll probably go through about 40 quarterbacks when all is said and done. So, and then after that, I'll need ideas, at least until August. And I'll try to keep thinking of some things. I'll scout around. I'll look for, again, I might just do, maybe what I did briefly with the weekly word, or, different talks on different topics, sharing my thoughts on those. Maybe rants, I don't know, because I put a lot of rants in these Tracking the Madness videos. So, just whatever I can find and whatever comes to my mind, as I put on my description, whatever comes into my head, that's really what's going to be on here. So, again, though, I can't say it enough. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for now, being a part of this channel, being involved in it, and taking time to watch and just experience it with me. So thank you so much. God bless you guys. Enjoy Selection Sunday tomorrow. It's our holiday, okay? It's it's a sports fans holiday. It's bracket day. You know, if you have a T-shirt with bracket on it, wear it. I mean, I don't know how you guys celebrate, but it's a fun day. Then the office pool's going to be flying off the printers and copiers come Monday. So enjoy it, guys. Enjoy the selection. Enjoy the tournament. It's one of the best times of the year for a reason. You know, and then it culminates on April 7th with the national championship game and one shining moment, and that's always my favorite part. You know, the retrospective, looking back on all that we saw during the tournament. Just enjoy it, guys. It's really an awesome time of year. Thank you again for your support, and enjoy the tournament. Thanks, guys, so much. Tracking the Madness, done for this year, but certainly not done for the foreseeable future. Not after all the support it got this year. Thank you guys again. God bless you.